Hello and welcome to the Best Today podcast. I'm your host, Shantae Grant, and today you are in for a treat. I have a guest in today's episode, Brandi Crawford of Snatched, and I will read a portion of her official bio in one moment. But I want to share why I asked Brandi to be our very first guest on the Best Today podcast. As you know, 99.9999% of the time, it's you and I sitting here chatting it up. But I want to bring women onto this podcast who I see with my own eyes, who are living out exactly what we teach here at Best Today. And one of the very first people to come to my mind was Brandi Crawford of Snatched. Brandi is really one of my favorite Instagram follows. I look forward to her content. I look forward to her recipes. I look forward to watching her share lessons along the way, many of which mirror the things that I teach, but it's in her lane, which is when she's talking about food and health. And I can't wait to introduce you to her. My hope is that you will learn something from Brandi, that you will find her on social media, that you will go to her website, staysnatched.com, which we will link in today's show notes, make her delicious recipes, and leave her a fantastic review. But more than anything, I really want you to understand the principles that Brandi and I are talking about apply outside of just healthy lifestyle. Brandi's going to talk to us about how to choose a healthy lifestyle over temporary fads, but I want you to understand how you can apply that to different areas of your life. Where are these places where you're looking to paint by numbers your life, or looking to restrict yourself temporarily to get some result, but not make the changes a part of your lifestyle? Oh, I could just go on and on. I'm going to let you listen in on basically us having a conversation as we would, even if the microphones weren't there. But before I do that, let me read you a portion of her bio. Brandi Crawford currently lives in Kansas City, Missouri. She's a self-taught cook and fitness enthusiast. She is the author of the Super Easy Air Fryer Cookbook, which I own and I have gifted numerous times. She has been featured on Good Morning America, Women's Health Magazine, Shape Magazine, Parade, Essence, Country Living, Southern Living, BuzzFeed, Delish, the Kansas City Star, the Kansas City Spaces Magazine, Great List, and many, many more. Brandi's goal is to share recipes that support a consistently healthy lifestyle, and she does just that. You are going to love her. Put your shoes on because your toes might get stepped on. Grab your edges because they might get snatched. I mean, she is Stay Snatched, right? And listen to this conversation between Brandi and I. We talk about lifestyle over fads. I hope you enjoy the conversation. I'll be back at the end to share some of my favorite parts of my conversation with Brandi Crawford of Stay Snatched. Let's take a listen. Welcome to the Best Today podcast, Brandi. I am so excited to have you here today. Before we get started and I start talking, please introduce yourself. Tell us who you are and what matters to you and anything else you want to share.
Yes, I'm Brandi, aka Stay Snatched. That's where you can find me on social media, and also the name of my website. And I do a lot of cooking, and I do a lot of different types of cooking, lots of healthy recipes, but then a lot of indulging family favorite recipes that I've been cooking all of my life. And so I'm just here to basically share food. And along the way, I also just share little peeks into my life and things that I'm up to and what I'm doing.
Yes, you are my favorite pandemic social media find for sure. I found you last year. I think Ashley from All the Healthy Things reposted something yours one day and I tapped on it. And I'm telling you, when I tell you everyone in my house, except for the 3-year-old, but one day like knows who you are, Zoe will tell us like, we should make one of Brandi's. Yes. My mom came to visit. I made that pasta. She was like, print me out these recipes before I go. She had me printing out 3 recipes because we made your fish tacos. Y'all, I'm telling you, like it gives you the information that helps you like make the meal good. So it's not even like I'm just printing the recipes out. I'm like, hold on, let me read the book first so I can not mess up the recipe. Is what I love so much. And you can find anything. If I want to make something, I start by going to Stay Snatched, like legit.
Yay.
So
to hear that.
Yes, love it, love it, love it. And what I want to know, I'm so curious, like I said, so I've been following you on social for over a year now, right at the beginning of the pandemic. I think it's when I first found you and just hooked, bought your book, bought my friends your book, like all of the things. But who was Brandi before Stay Snatched? I feel like young Brandi was just as determined, just as honest and bold as you are right now. But I could be wrong. I just get that feeling. But tell us about young Brandi and what you were doing before Stay Snatched.
Yeah. So a lot of people might find this hard to believe. Young Brandi was bolder than Brandi is now. And so this is actually a little watered down, toned down, trying not to hurt everybody's feelings every single day type Brandi. So that I think a lot of people would probably find that hard to believe. But I've always been a direct communicator, primarily because that's the type of communication style I thrive the best with. I just want you to get straight to the point. Tell me like it is. I don't like sugarcoating things. And I'm just a very results driven person. And I don't feel like I can get results if I don't have the direct information that I need to solve whatever it is, or just to get through life. So that part of my personality has always been there, and it's actually been a little turned up more than it is now. But prior to Stay Snatched, in terms of work, I was a financial analyst. And so I'm also a CPA. And so I've sat for the CPA exam and actually went through the certification process with that. So I know accounting, but I also know financial analysis too. So I did a lot of financial planning and analysis, a lot of budget modeling and scenario modeling. If we were to, most recently, I worked at a Fortune 10 company that produces cars. So if we were to produce 200,000 more cars this year, how much would that increase our wages? How much would that increase these costs? Like things like that. And so that's what I was doing. And I absolutely loved it. And I grew up cooking, been cooking all my life. I was the one in the kitchen with my mama on Saturday night, washing up the greens for Sunday the next day, making cornbread and stuff like that. So I've always been into cooking, but in terms of like really, really healthy cooking, that came sometime within the last 8 or 9 years, where I just wanted to switch to making healthier things that I could eat, because I had been doing tons of crash dieting. I always tell this story. Anytime my birthday will roll around and vacation will roll around 6 weeks before, I'm like, I got to be in the gym. I got to be eating some salads. I got to do all of this just to make sure I look good on vacation. And so I had been doing that for like a couple of years. And I'm like, I'm burned out doing this. Like every time I'm leading up to the vacation, I'm doing all of this stuff to prepare. What if this just became my lifestyle? Because it's not like I don't dislike veggies. I like veggies. Veggies taste good. What if I just focused more on just healthier eating? And so at that time, there weren't even a lot of blogs around, but there were some. And so I would see people cooking healthy stuff, but it wasn't the healthy stuff that I want to eat. It wasn't flavored the way I want to, taste things. And so I just started creating my own stuff. And so people would see me just like on my personal social media accounts at that time, and people would ask me for the recipes. And so I'm like, I need to be writing this down for myself for when I want to go back and cook it anyway. Yep. And so I just started a blog, and I didn't really have a lot of intention with it, just to share recipes, and things just snowballed very quickly for me. Like I was having recipes go viral within the first few months. By 6 months, I was starting to record videos for all of my stuff. That helped kind of catapult the success and everything. And I would just be at work, and I loved my job. I loved the benefits, and I was also paid very well. So for me, I was like, I'm never leaving here. I'm just going to do both, because I wanted that security. And I loved the work I was doing. I hated my boss though. And so the more I disliked her, my boss, and the better Stay Snatched started doing, I'm like, I don't need to be here. And so when I got in my mind that, I didn't want to be there anymore, I was gone within 2 months. And so for me, I set up the process of what do I need to feel comfortable? And me just being a finance person, it was all about the money for me. I knew that I'm a risk taker, but when it comes to money, I'm a conservative risk taker. And I wanted to be sure that I would be financially secure. And so I paid off my debt. And once that was done, I was like, okay, I'm out of here. Yeah. And I had left. I remember I told my friends, my birthday is October 1st. I told my friends at my birthday dinner that I was going to do it. And November 15th is when I left, which was also the 2-year anniversary of Stay Snatched. And so the 2-year anniversary, I was leaving, and it was an exciting time.
Wow. I love that. And what an amazing story. In that a lot of times you hear people say, I hated what I did. I didn't love it anymore. Or I just went to school to do this thing. And you love what you were doing. Mm-hmm. And what you're doing is so to me, complicated and complex. But you found something that you enjoyed just as much. And I can only imagine what you knew from your professional career has helped you so much to build a sustainable business so that you, like you said, I know the numbers I need. I know if like you did with the cars, I need to make this much to make this, to do this, and you know how to make those decisions. So I think, how amazing is that? I love that. And something else you said about the crash dieting, I hadn't heard that before, that you were doing like the crash dieting for the birthday. And it makes so much sense now why on your bio, you bring it out from the very beginning, like, this is not the place for crash dieting tips. And, I see it every time you post a question and you have to kind of go back for those people. That's something I wanted to talk to you about, because I think what you do in terms of food is an example that people can apply in their, like, in anything in real life. And so right there on your bio, it says no crash dieting. I want to talk to us about, why is it so important to, rather than saying, I need this for this temporary period of time, let me do something now, and then go back and live another lifestyle until it's time to come back and do this thing again. Why was it so important to you to build a lifestyle brand? I think it's a lifestyle brand. I know you're a recipe developer and food blogger, but a lifestyle that shows you can do the things you love all the time. And that way you don't have to always, like, almost like a stay ready, you don't have to get ready.
Exactly.
Like,
no, that is my mantra.
Yeah.
That's my mantra. And I'm so happy that you brought up the word temporary, because temporary, if you work on something temporarily, you are only going to get temporary results. So if you're only putting in the work a little bit at a time, you're only going to feel what you need a little bit of the time. And so if I want to really stick to the vanity part of even that, I want to look good every day. And if I'm not doing the work that I need to do every day, then I'm not going to look good every day. And if we take it even a step further to how you feel about yourself and your mindset and stuff like that, if you're not constantly working on yourself, then, like, what are you doing all of this for? And so, to talk about the crash dieting piece, it's become a really agitating sticking point for me, because I get so many people that come to me wanting dieting tips. And it's like, y'all, look at my name. Like, I chose the name Stay Snatched kind of for that person to shed the kind of persona that you need a temporary fix, you need a summer body, or you need a blah, 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 blah. This needs to be kind of a lifestyle thing. And it's also just kind of an agitating sticking point for me, because I used to do it and I know how ineffective it is. And I've been doing this for 5 years now. I've seen so many people who would be all up in my DMs or all up in the comments on my posts who come and go, who I'll see them maybe once every 2 years or once every summer body roll around where they're making my recipes again. And then they disappear and they come back. And I just look at it and I'm just like, man, if y'all just knew that. I know one of the sayings that you say is like, everything is waiting on the other side of consistency or something like that. Everything you want is waiting for you on the other side of consistency. And I just be wanting to, like, shove that down people's throats. I'm like, if you just knew or whatever. And so I try to demonstrate that just if you watch me on IG stories, it's like, I might eat a salad for breakfast. I might drink a green smoothie, but in the event I want some of my homemade mac and cheese, Brandy's going to whip up that mac and cheese and I'm going to enjoy it. And I'm not going to feel a way about it. There's so much talk out here about, oh my God, if I do this, then I feel guilty about it. And I'm like, I don't feel a way ever, because I know at the end of the day, but a lot of that is because I know what my core values are. I know that my core value in the way that I think is that I'm going to live as healthy as I can every single day. And what I do in the meantime is just what I do in the meantime. I can get right back to what I've always done. And it won't even impact you if you are being consistent in everything that you're doing. And so that's the biggest thing that a lot of people probably won't ever understand that. And because they've never lived this way. A lot of people, it's all or nothing. The spectrum is either you over here or you over here. Very few people kind of balance and moderation, I feel like, are the common terms that people love to throw out there. But very few people find that. And it's for a variety of reasons. But I think a lot of it is just they don't have experience in just kind of living this way.
Yeah. I mean, you wrote something I tried to write real quick. I mean, the first thing you dropped was the temporary. And that is so true. Like if you're doing something temporarily for, hot girl summer, then what's winter going to be? Like that is just, so in winter, you don't want to be hot girl, that's kind of like if you only are shooting for those results as opposed to looking at it as a lifestyle, I think it's really key. And then another thing you said, what your core values are. I think that's a huge thing that's missing. You probably heard me say over and over, like, who are you? Like, what do you want? If you know what matters to you, if health matters to you, then you understand you can have mac and cheese, but you also know, because I know I'm gonna be working out, and I'm not working out because I had the mac and cheese. I'm working out because I care about my health. And so that's what I love seeing from you. I mean, you eat it all. Like you said, we see your salads, your smoothie, your mac and cheese, you're on vacation, and it's looking like you at the Emperor's Palace, everything just coming I be like, I want to eat. That's on my life list. I want to go eat with Brandi. Because wherever she go, I mean, the table is spread for a king, for a queen.
The food gotta be lit. If I'm in the building, the food needs to be good, and I don't restrict myself. Like another thing I often get from people, for one, they want a blueprint for how I live. Like people just think that I can just shell out. These are the hard and fast rules on how to live like Brandi. And I'm like, I don't live like that, y'all. Like I color outside the lines. And for me, I do have some hard and fast rules. I remember I shared this on Instagram a couple of months ago when I was getting all of the questions about the vacation food. Like, oh my God, what diet are you on? Because you're on vacation, you're doing this. I'm like, it ain't no diet, y'all. Clearly there ain't no diet. You can see that there's no diet, but, the hard and fast rules. Like, and something that I know that you share too, like I don't buy conventional meat. I get things from Butcher Box. I eat vegetables daily. It's just simple stuff. I try to avoid processed food, but outside of that, there's no, I'm 6 days a week, I'm not going to eat any carbs, but then 1 day a week, I'm going to eat all of the carbs. I don't have anything set up in my life like that. But a lot of that is because I know myself, I know my body, and I've just established a routine that is in the back of my mind. It's not even something where I'm following a blueprint. It's just something I've just gotten comfortable with over the years, just living. Like I always just say, I'm just living my life, y'all. Yes. And it just is what it is.
And that's it. That's what a lifestyle is. And that's the thing. You're right. So many people say, okay, can you tell me how do you do X, Y, or Z when it comes to time? And I'm like, I'm consistent. I planned the day the night before. Like it's almost like they're like, well, it has to be more than that. It's like they want you to make it complicated. Or
they do.
So like, but actually it's not complicated, and it's just the life you live.
Right.
And so that's another thing I love so much about you. You really just show like, this is just me living, and it's every single day. I know I'm gonna see what outfit Brandi working out in today. You're gonna let us know is, hey, you see these 30 pounds, I'm lifting them today. And it's just, and I feel like you say so much without really saying a thing. And what it's saying is, I'm giving y'all the answer to what you're asking me. I'm giving you the answer, but you're asking me for only eat, rice, broccoli, and asparagus. But I'm showing you, no, it's not that. It's move your body every day.
Right. Exactly.
It's choose high quality foods. It's eat the things you love, but make sure you got some vegetables in there. And it really is that simple. And that's one of the reasons I love following you, because it's like, I likened healthy food to like bland, and I can't eat bland food. I need my season. I like to see my, I don't even like to see my food. I'm like, I want so much seasoning. I can't eat fish. That's how I like my food. And it's possible. But we also see you doing these other things, your 2-a-days, your boot camps. You're like, so I'm not just going on these walks, like I'm lifting these weights, and it's really important things, but you're showing them literally every single day. And that's one of the things that I think is so important. Even when we're talking about like being your best one today at a time, it's really that showing up consistently and there's so much freedom in that. You have the freedom then to eat what you want on vacation, because you're not like clocking for calories. You're like, I'm gonna eat what I want because it all works together. I think that's I love.
It really does. And it all, like, people hate to hear it. It's a broken record, but it's consistency, y'all. And it's not even forced. Like I've started to get to the point where the word discipline is becoming a triggering for me. Like someone DM'd me last week and was like, I want the discipline that you have. And so now I'm like, it's not even discipline, because to me, discipline implies that I'm waking up and I'm forcing myself to, I don't want to lift these 30-pound dumbbells, but I'm gonna. And that's not the case for me. And if that is the case for other people, it's like no shade to them. But I've just been moving my body for years. It's joyful movement for me.
Mm-hmm.
I wake up and I look forward to it. I think I've shared this before on my platform as well, is that if I don't wake up and move my body, my whole day is completely thrown off. Like there are some days where I can't do my workouts until maybe lunchtime. And I can already feel like how my morning just hits differently than when I just wake up and get it in the morning, because I've been at it for so long and it's joyful movement for me. It's actually something that I look forward to. And I've figured out what works for me. For me, it's music. I've always been a music lover, and that's when I can really get into my music, and the music influences me throughout the workout. And so when I look back at it in the past, when I would have workouts that I didn't necessarily look forward to, it was always because of the music. Like people that have been following me prior to the pandemic, I used to work out at these boutique studios that were like weightlifting gyms and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
The same way I navigate to the same Peloton instructors, I was the same way at that studio. The people that I knew that were going to play the music that I wanted, those were the people I was going to work out with. And if you wasn't hitting and playing what I wanted to do, I wasn't going to take your workout. And so I would always post about when they would have a last minute sub and my person wasn't there. And I'd be like, oh, y'all, I was terrible in this workout because the music was just awful. Yeah. Or I remember one time the instructor, the guy who owned the studio came in and did the workout as a surprise. So he completely switched up the music, which also makes me upset because it's like, oh, so we can't play hip hop because he's here. Yeah. And so now you got a code switch for him. And so I didn't have a good workout. So I know what my thing is. I know that music is my thing. And so that's what's going to get me going. And I look forward to it every single time.
Yes, that's what you said. You figured out what works for you, and then you incorporate it in your life. So now I'm doing what I want to do in the way that I like doing it. So now I'm doing it because I love it. And I, just like you, I feel like we probably get a lot of the same DM questions, but about that discipline, about motivation, which for me, that's one of my words. I'm like,
yep, same.
I want to live my life. Like, how does like inhaling and exhaling, and especially in a time like this, not motivate you?
Yeah. Like that's another trigger one is that, oh, how do you stay motivated? And it's like, that's not the question you need to be asking me. I feel like the question you need to ask yourself is, why aren't you? Because it's not, you cannot follow somebody on Instagram and expect to get that motivation. There's something within you. Like people will tell me, I can't even get out of the bed to work out. And it's like, you need to explore why you can't get out of the bed. And sometimes that means talking to somebody about that. And enough people don't take that extra step to dive deeper into that. It's not watching somebody on Instagram. It's figuring out, why aren't you motivated?
Yes, that's it. And like you said, and sitting with that as opposed to like brushing it off like, oh, I'm just not motivated. I think so many things have just become so accepted. Like, oh, I'm just busy. Oh, I just don't have time to do that thing. Oh, I can't afford insert thing. And it's like, those are excuses. If you have legs, you can go outside and run. I have not a bike nor tread yet, but you better believe I'm getting them strength classes in. Like, it's like, I feel like people aren't taking the time to say, okay, listen to what I just said about myself. Like, that's the first thing, like pause. You just said that about yourself. Now, what are you going to do about that? Are you going to just brush it off and say, oh, yeah, I'm just not motivated? Or do you want to be motivated? Do you want to do the thing? Then, okay, now what do you need to do about that? Because usually it is something deeper. And a lot of times I have to ask people like, do you love yourself? I think a lot of these things are also reflective of how self-aware we are. That comes into, like you said, exploring and maybe talking to someone else about it. And then self-love, like, do you love yourself enough to do the things you say you want to do? Or you just want to be a person who's like, oh, I wish, or nice for them, because it could be nice for you too. And I was thinking the person who's like looking for you, what if Instagram shut down? You gonna live an unmotivated life? Like, I need you to have something within yourself. And I guess the question is, because I'm told quite often, Shantae, you have to realize not everyone is like you, which I kind of fight against that. But okay, let's just say that's true. For the person who is listening, they're like, I want this. I want to be able to live a lifestyle where I am clear on what I want. Brandi's figured out what she wants. She want to eat good. She want to move her body. And she want to do just live her life doing the things. She want to travel. We know these things, right? And she want to wear some bomb workout clothes. Like, these are 4 things we know to be true about Brandi. What would you tell them? Like, what do they do if they're like, I know there are things I want, but I know I'm the one, because that's who it is, y'all. It's you. I'm the one who's holding me back from actually beginning to be consistent. What would you say to that person?
how badly do you want it? Because there isn't anything in my life that I've yearned for bad enough that I haven't gone out to get. And I'm somebody who grew up with nothing. Like anything that I have attained in this life, I've attained on my own. And all of that is just through hard work. And it's me wanting it. The things that I let fall by the wayside are things that I didn't really care about. Mm-hmm. And I didn't really want. And so if you really want something, you will figure out a way to go after it. And whether that's, I think a lot of it is distractions. And so I think that assessing what distractions in your life do you need to remove? Because I think the biggest excuse is also time.
Yeah.
I want all of these things. I want to do all of these things, but I don't have the time. And it's like, but what's taking up your time? And I love the words, or I guess it's the multiple words, time wasting activities. A lot of that is Instagram. And so like, I get a lot of people who just sit on Instagram and scroll through all of these IG stories, watching other people probably live their lives while you don't have time to do stuff. I'll never forget, a few years ago, I went out to dinner with a friend, and the first 30 minutes of this dinner, this is when I really realized how much people will waste time unconsciously. The first 30 minutes of the dinner was the friend discussing how busy they were and just how overwhelmed they were with all of this work that was going on, things going on in their life. And they were just really troubled by, how busy they were. And when the conversation ended, and I was actually going through the same thing, the Stay Snatched was just taking off. I was doing a whole bunch of stuff with that. And I was really empathizing. But our food came out, we started eating. Then they proceeded to tell me, hey, have you binge watched XYZ show? I'm on season 5, blah, 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 blah. And I was a little offended and baffled, because I was like, no, I don't have time to watch 5 seasons of this show, because I don't watch TV like that. If I watch TV, it's 1 or 2 days per week. I don't have binge watching time. But I'm like, you just let me sit here for 30 minutes of you just piling it on me, like just piling it on me about how busy you are, how overwhelmed you are. And in the next breath, you just told me in the last 2 weeks, you didn't binge watch this show for 5 seasons. I was just mortified. I was like, and I don't even remember what I said at the time, but I was just like, wow, no, because I don't have that kind of time.
At Best Today, we exist to help women just like you be your best one today at a time. So each week on the podcast, we are going to highlight your stories and your voices. So let's see what's in the inbox today.
I am Valerie, and I have started to use my Best Today guide, and it has been a complete game changer for me. Planners don't work for me, and I was in search of something that I could start my day with purpose and not just a to-do list. And the Best Today guide does exactly that. In addition to writing down the things that I need to do that day and completing those things, it also gives me the opportunity to plan my day the night before, complete game changer for me. And also it wakes me up to questions about how I want to plan my day. It gives me the opportunity to plan my day and how I want it to look, and not just how my list wants it to look. And so this has been a complete game changer for me and a complete mind shift. And for that, I am so thankful.
Valerie, I want to first say thank you so much for sharing your story. And I hope those of you who are listening hear the words that she said. If you found that traditional planners have not worked for you, do not work for you, I want to invite you to try the Best Today guide. It is better than a planner, and it is not a planner. It is a guide to help you to be proactive and intentional with your time, specifically crafted and designed with you in mind, who you want to become, who you want to be, and what you want, and how to live your days with intention, how to start your mornings, how to end your days, how to prioritize your mental and emotional health, how to preview your weeks, how to start your morning strong. You do not have to go this alone. Please go to besttodayguide.com That's besttodayguide.com to learn more, see inside of the Best Today Guide, to read more reviews, listen to more customer stories, and answer all the questions you may have about the Best Today Guide. Again, you can go to besttodayguide.com and get your Best Today Guide today.
And so I think people are oblivious to the things that you will allow yourself to do. And sometimes maybe it's medication. Like for you to sit and binge watch this show, it'll take you away from all the other things in your life that are stressing you out. And I understand that. But at the same time, when are you going to get back up and do the things that you need to do so that you can get out of this situation that you're in? And or to get back to your question, pursue the things that you say you want to do.
Yeah.
Like do a time audit of yourself. People probably hate that too, but I'm an auditor by nature because I'm an accountant. And so do a time study of yourself, how many hours a day you're spending on social media or watching TV or doing things that don't drive results, because I'm really good about cutting things off in my life that don't drive results. And if that's the TV, if that's not interacting with certain people for the amount of time that I need to, then I can do that. I can easily just adjust that. And I'm really good at, and I'm keen about identifying just time wasting events, because that's more valuable to me than money. Because without the time, I can't even make the money that I want to make. And so if people valued their time more, you could be more consistent.
Yeah. I mean, created a whole company for that. So when you told that story about the friend, that's the person who I think about every day who says, and I meet people all the time and work with women who say, I don't have the time. But then when I actually look at what they do with their time, I'm like, oh, you do. You got a lot of time, actually. You just ain't using it well. Like, that's why I really have been telling people a lot lately, like, get off Instagram. Like, first of all, if you say, I need to do this, but if you say I don't have time to, you shouldn't be reading this.
Yeah.
But I think you did it when you said the distractions, and everything you say also keeps coming back to like getting clear on what you really want. And a lot of times, you're right. A lot of times people are using the binge to kind of break free, but it's like, if you actually stop the binge, we could get you to a place where you could remove the things that you feel like you need to break free from. Like it's a cycle of like one poor decision leads to another poor decision, which ends up building a poor habit, and it just becomes a part of your life that you're just now going to complain about rather than doing something about. Because if you let something keep going long enough, it's just like you have positive routines, there are negative routines that are just being built time and time and time again. So y'all go back and rewind that. Listen to that again. I was trying to write down I'm going to listen to it again myself. It's so very, very true. And this is what a lot of people are doing when it comes to their time, is they're making excuses. But it's like, if you actually did an audit, and I used to do that a lot, and we did it actually in the Best Today community a few months back, a time audit where you really do look and realize, oh, I just be scrolling on Instagram. I should give myself a timer, so it's not even like saying cut everything out, but you'll be surprised, like, man, 10 minutes went that fast. Yeah, it goes very fast. And because that's what they want you to do. Like, it's built to keep you on the platform, and that's any platform, as long as possible. So maybe this was your answer, but I was going to ask you, what's been the best lesson that you've learned while over the last however many years now you've been committed to this lifestyle of like living a life you love and making these choices consistently? What's been one of the best lessons you've learned along the way?
Best lesson. I just feel like I can do anything. I just feel like I can do anything that I want to do. And I love your saying that everything is waiting for me on the other side of consistency. And that applies to take it outside of, the healthy eating and stuff from that. That even applies to my business. When people ask me for business advice and stuff like that, and I'm like, consistency allows you so much. Consistency allows you to get better at doing something, because the more you do it, the faster and more efficient you are in doing it. And just the more content that you have out there, and the more people who have an opportunity to see you, and so that you can get more exposure and stuff like that. And so just being consistent is just, it's just everything for me.
And I get this. I told you, I think I sent you a DM when I got this question. Someone asked over in the Best Today community. So I want to hear what your answer is. And someone said, I'm young. I'm older. Can someone tell me what stay snatched mean? And it was funny because then everyone started giving their interpretation of the term. And then one person was like, I think you talk about Brandi. Like she accompanied the term. But if someone asks you like, Brandi, so what does it mean to stay snatched? What does that mean to you?
I always say it's looking good and feeling good, because anybody is snatched if you say that you snatched. Like, can't nobody tell you that you ain't.
Yep.
And so that's what it is for me. And so I wanted the stay part on there because to get back to kind of we talked about with the lifestyle, like this isn't something that I'm trying to pick up and put down. So this is, I want to stay looking good. I want to stay feeling good.
I love that. And I think that's what you do. And that's what I think one of my favorite things about watching your content is, yes, it's very clear if you go and look at your Instagram feed that you are a recipe developer. Your content is about, like you said, recipes that you'll love, that taste good. You give us options if you want to do it low carb, if you want to do it this way, or if you want to sub these veggies, you do all of that. But if I feel like when I look at your stories, it goes beyond that and it inspires people and reminds people that you can live this lifestyle that you love. It started in the kitchen. Maybe they introduced you to food, but it really does, I think, pour over. And I hope that people who do follow you get that message outside of food, that it really is like, just what do you want? Find the things that you love and just pursue it wholeheartedly and find joy in the journey. And not too long ago, you did it was either a story or a post about that. And you were sharing how, and for me, when you said it, to me, it was like a revelation that you were like, a lot of people think that struggle has to be a part of the journey. Can you share a little bit about that? Because I was just like, that's it. Yeah. I keep wondering why people will reject when I tell them it's as simple as this, like be consistent, plan. You got to cut some stuff out. You got to look at your time. Like these little simple things that we have talked about, unplanned, like there is no talk about this, Brandi. This is just us conversating, but you're saying these same things and people. And I always was like, why are people not accepting the simplicity of this? And when you said that, I was like, they're looking for a struggle. They're like, they need me to give them something that sounds like, go flip 17 times in the parking lot. What is it about that? And what has your experience been where people feel like they have to have a struggle in this journey to become whoever they want to become?
I think that people think that in all facets of life, that people feel that anything worth having, you have to struggle to get there, because that's a whole other conversation. But it all, to me, comes from a place of self-doubt and negative self-talk. Like people are saying, I've lived my whole life and I've never been able to get that or live life like that. So in order for me to get that and live like that, I need to completely do the opposite of what I'm doing. And so if I'm going to do the complete opposite of what I'm doing, that means I need to restrict everything that I've been doing, everything that I've been eating. And so because I've been eating a lot of bread every day, I need to take away the bread. And it's like, and the other thing that just surprises me, that people think that you're just going to wake up one day and not eat any bread very easily. You're just going to restrict all of this stuff one day, and that's going to be sustainable. So it just boggles my mind that people actually think that they can do that. But it all just starts from everything that I've been doing has to be wrong. So I need to do the opposite of everything that I'm doing. And so if I'm taking away the bread that I love, that I eat every day, and now I'm suddenly taking it away, then I need to struggle to get to that other place. And it's like, you really don't have to. Yes, you probably do need to make some shifts, but you can also still keep a lot of things in that you actually do enjoy and that you can incorporate in moderation and things like that. And so that's what's going to get you there. And I also just think a lot of people don't have exposure to a lot of things. The more I kind of interact with people on Instagram, the more I see that a lot of people just don't know like how great certain vegetables can taste because they've never had exposure to them. And there's just something in their mind that has already given them a preconceived negative, connotation with it. And so the idea of even incorporating that into their life becomes like a restriction type negative element for them. And so it just continues to snowball into something big to where people are like, oh, in order to do that, I need to struggle. And I'm like, hey, I'm over here eating these vegetables, eating my mac and cheese, going on vacation, blah, blah, blah. And And I don't live like that.
Yeah.
And so, and it also kind of goes back to what I said earlier about people just don't understand a life they've never lived. And so until you're in the middle of something, you don't even understand, how life can be that way, because you're just stuck on, I've been living life maybe this way or that way all of my life. And that hasn't gotten me that or what I want. And so I need to do something completely different, which is restriction. And it all just boils down to restriction. And I'm like, I'm not restricting. We get one life. The same way we get one body that we do need to take care of and nourish. We also get one life. Yeah. And I want to live it.
Yeah. It's so funny, the parallels with what you're saying, because I think about whenever I start talking to people about routine, they think, well, then how will I make time for the things that are really fun? So routine's actually going to help you make space for that. I think it's like you hear the solution and you think it means anti everything you've done to this point. And it's like, no, I'm going to help you figure out the things you want to do. So first we can get rid of the things that you don't, because you realize you're using time like binge watching 17 shows, but saying you don't have time to read a book. We can flip flop. Like it's as soon as people hear that, my questions are always that pushback. But can you still have spontaneity and have a routine? Yeah, because you're a grown adult. If you don't want to do the routine because you want to go over here because you got a phone call, your friend said, hey, girl, I got Beyonce tickets out at last minute. You're not going to be like, oh, that's during my dinner routine. I'm not going to be able to make it to the concert. No, right? It's like, but that's the story they tell. I think people tell themselves. Sometimes I say you make it complicated because you're looking for an out.
Exactly.
People are doing it's like, I can't do that because it's going to take away my fun. No, it's not actually. Don't you see us over here having fun, like doing the things we want to do? So I think it's just so important to understand that mind of people really do try to overcomplicate it to talk themselves out of it. Like, this is why I can't do it because it's this. And I'm like, actually, no, it really is not.
Yeah. And they want the checklist of items to do. They want to know that I can do X, Y, and Z and achieve this result. Like it has to be black and white. There can be no gray, or there has to be like some trigger point that tells them, okay, well, if you put no here, then you can do this and you're still going to achieve the result. Like they really want something really cookie cutter. And it's like, that's not life, y'all.
And that's why these,
you really wouldn't want that.
Yeah. And that's why so many of these fad diets get so much popularity, because here's the diet. You only can do this. You can't do this. You can eat 3 of these and 4 of these. And people like that. But then they're like, but this sucks. Like, but that's what you asked for. You asked for, you want to paint by numbers your life. And then you realize this isn't fun. They're having fun over there. But then when you tell them how to do it, they're like, but can you give me the boxes I had over here? But didn't you just say having the boxes wasn't fun? The food was nasty. You didn't like it, but now it's like, and that's what I find now. People will come to us and they're like, yeah, I like, but can you add a few more boxes? I need more space for to-dos. I'm like, no, because I'm trying to teach you how to stop doing all that. Like, you're like, can you do the thing that hasn't been working for me, but in your way that does work? I'm like, that's not how it works. And it's so fun to see those parallels between what you do and what I do. And it really is a lesson that permeates well beyond food. Like you said, it's a lifestyle. My question that I have for you, because I really want to know the answer to this, is where do you draw inspiration, or who or what encourages you? Because you really, like I said, you have it. You have that consistency. You know what you want. You're living it out. So where are you drawing inspiration and encouragement from? My core inspiration, I think, it has been in building a life that I can enjoy forever. Yeah. So right now I'm very driven by, I don't want to work. I'm trying to retire. So what do I need to do to just live a life where I can work because I want to work. And so just in growing up and not having a lot of things afforded to me, but a lot of opportunity to create the life that I want with Stay Snatched, without Stay Snatched, just me as a person. So I'm just really inspired by just the idea of having even more financial freedom than I have now, to where I can just enjoy my life. And I feel like that's actually what I've been doing most of 2021 after being locked up for however long. And now I'm back locked up because Delta variant, but we ain't gonna talk about all of that. But just really living out the lifestyle that I have created for myself. And so my inspiration just lies in that, because that is freedom for me. Yep. And that's why in the Best Today Guide, people ask me a lot. Every morning I have people write their vision for their life. And it doesn't have to be long, doesn't have to be a life statement, but it's remembering that. so that when you go to make that dumb choice that's going to take you from the thing you want, you can remember, I just said, this is the vision I have for my life. So I love that. Like you said, you're keeping like financial freedom, working only because like, I got time. I think I'll do something today, but I don't need it to pay my mortgage. I don't need to, keep the lights on. Keeping that in your forefront, that's going to inform how you show up for yourself every single day. And I think that's really, really important. Brandi, I'm just so grateful. I could talk to you all day. I just thank you for being an example of what we do here, that you really can get clear on what you want, who you want to become, who you want to be, and then make decisions every single day that reinforce that. And it's not by force. Like you said, it's not because you're like, white knuckling yourself into doing these things. It's because I'm doing the things that I want to do because this is who I am. It's not just a thing to do. And I'm not doing it for the gram. If Instagram went away, I know every morning you got that outfit. You about to be in there with Alex. I know it's going to be leg day. I know you're going to be doing the boot camp with Jess. It's like, this is because it's who you are. So I'm just grateful to introduce my audience to you so that they can see another example of what it looks like to be your best one today at a time, because that's what we are in the business of doing. And it starts for us with time, because like you said, so many people say the reason they can't do the things they want to do is because of time. So I want to know, where can people find you? We're going to put links in the show notes to today's episode, but where can they find you, interact with you, find those recipes? Y'all make, I might put some of my favorite recipes in the show notes. I think I will, because there's so many good, you can't go wrong. But where can people find you and connect with you?
Yes, I'm on Instagram at stay, STAY _ snatched, SNATCHED. And then my website is staysnatched.com. That's where you'll find hundreds of recipes just waiting on you.
Yes. Thank you so much. Any last words, Brandi, for the person who just listened because people, I feel like when they listen to these things, they feel inspired and then like they turn off the podcast and then life hits them and then go right back. What's one thing someone can do right now before they lose that fire you just put into their hearts? What's one thing they can do to get them on the road to staying snatched and living their best today, one day at a time?
Add a cup of veggies to each of your meals this week. Just this week, 1 cup, very small. Just take out a measuring cup. Add a bag of some mixed greens to that, or some green beans to every single meal you eat this week.
Ooh, I love that. Yes, I love it. Because I love seeing you eat veggies with your breakfast. And I'm kind of like, because I always thought just spinach. That was about the only thing I could think about, like mixing with my breakfast. And I was like, you could just do a whole salad. Because why not? Why not? So thank you again, Brandi, for being here. I'm going to put all the links in our show notes to today's episode, and y'all go follow her on Instagram. Get ready to get snatched, and make sure you go and don't forget to tag her and let her know when you make her meals. Tag her, and don't forget, I'm gonna tell you, because she's gonna tell you too, make sure you leave that review when you make that meal.
Yes.
You taught me, because I feel like another thing you've done that I didn't know was educate us on how important it is to leave reviews. I've left reviews here and there, but again, just like you said, because you're a straight shooter, tell us what you want. He's like, okay, this is really important for them. This is how they get found in other places. So now I know you always do that. And so it's just like letting people know, this is what I need you to do direct. I was like, boom, you got to tell me twice. Now I know, after I make my meal, I'm put it in my best today. By Friday, go leave that review. So I appreciate that, really, because you don't know what you don't know. And I didn't know how important those things were, or how important it was not to share the recipe, like things like that I'm sure I've done before in the past. But it's like, once you know better, you do better.
Exactly. I'm a fan of that statement for sure.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, Brandi. We'll talk to you again real soon.
All right.
So good, right? Don't you love her? Just so good. So good. And we could have continued talking for hours. In fact, we already are in the DMs talking about, we need to talk about this. And so you just might see us on the Instagram live soon, chatting it up some more. Before I share my favorite parts of what Brandi had to say, I do want to remind those of you who are listening in real time that you have very little time to get your ticket for our Teach Me How to Plan workshop, which is taking place next week on Thursday, September 16th at 2 available times, 1 p.m. and 8 p.m. Eastern time. Get your whole life Come and learn how to be consistent. Come and learn how to live a lifestyle with planning that works for your life. Learn how to plan anything that helps you to be and do whatever it is you want to be. In this workshop, I am teaching my specific method for planning. And again, there are 2 times to choose from. Every ticket comes with a replay as well as your workbook. You do not want to miss this workshop. So go to teachmehowtoplan.com right now and get your ticket. But now, let's talk about this conversation with Brandi. I'm going to tell you, there are a few things she said that I had like my finger in the air, like, yes, yes, yes. One of the very first was when she talked about temporary. If you are going to only implement temporary fixes, you're only going to have temporary results. Of course, that is true when we're talking about dieting and fads and health, but it's true when we talk about any and everything in life. And so I'm so grateful she brought that out. I loved her take on the word discipline, and that we don't have to beat ourselves up in order to do things. It may start off that things are a challenge, they feel uncomfortable, they're new to you, but it's not really discipline once you make something a lifestyle. I mean, I would hope that most of you aren't brushing your teeth because you're disciplined. You're brushing your teeth because it's the thing you know to do for your body. You're not taking a shower because of discipline. It's because it's a part of what you do. You know, you're not loving the people in your world because it's discipline. It's because it's a part of who you are. And that's why I always talk about being over doing. If we can get the being right, who it is you want to be, the type of person you want to be, then the type of actions that you do are going to match that. So if you want to be a person who is at peace, who has a consistent lifestyle, you're going to learn how to be consistent. I love what she said when she talked about distractions, y'all, clearly, and how she brought up, most people say it goes back to time, which is what we do here and how we help you be proactive and intentional with your time. But the role distractions play in really keeping you from what you want. This is an episode that you're going to want to go back and listen to again. I just really love the emphasis on a lifestyle over temporary fads. So Brandi, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us. Go to her website and get yourself some delicious food, y'all. StaySnatched.com. Again, it will be linked in the show notes, besttodayguide.com/27. We'll also link to her book. We'll link to her Instagram, and I will link to some of my favorite recipes that I have made over and over and over and over again. Thank you again to Brandi for joining us here on the Best Today podcast. Y'all go show her loads of love on Instagram, make her recipes, leave reviews. And more than anything, I think Brandi would agree with me. The thing we really want you to do is go out here and be great. Go out here and be the consistent person that you need to be in order to live the life you want. That is the greatest thing. Like, our presence here on the interwebs is to help you to understand that you can do it, and you don't have to do it as in a, I guess like she was saying, it doesn't have to mean restrictions and suffering. But okay, let me stop because Brandi's already said what needed to be said. She said what she said, and I'm gonna leave it at that. Thank you so much for being present with me and Brandi for this week's episode of the Best Today podcast. Until next time, remember that you are capable and you are worthy of being your best one today at a time. And everything you need to have everything you want, you've already got it. Like, you have everything you need to have everything you want. You just got to get started and stop with the excuses and distractions. Okay. So as we always say on this podcast, go on and shout it out as you live it out. Our mantra here, that this is what my best today looks like. I'll talk to you on the next episode. Bye for now. If you enjoyed this week's episode of the Best Today podcast, you are going to love the Best Today Guide. Our Better Than a Planner guide teaches you how to get clear on what you want, identify your self-destructive habits and behaviors, and intentionally create space to prioritize yourself every single day. Don't go the journey to being your best one today at a time without the Best Today Guide. See inside its pages and order yours today at besttodayguide.com. Even better, when you order the Best Today Guide, we gift you with your first month free inside of the Best Today membership. So what are you waiting for? We're giving you everything you need to trade busy for intention. Go to besttodayguide.com and order yours today and join thousands of women across the globe proclaiming each day, this is what my best today looks like.